You're watching, yes, the Yankees Entertainment and Sports Network.
Last night, Andrew Miller came on to get the final out as the Yankees took the first two of this three-game set against the Atlanta Braves. Today, they go for the sweep. Nice crowd as expected. A lot of Yankee fans have made their way here on Superhero Day. Who's going to be the superhero for the Yankees or for the Braves? We will find out shortly because it's time for baseball as Hyundai presents the Sunday game of the week. Today, it's the New York Yankees against the Atlanta Braves in the final game of a three-game set from Turner Field in Atlanta, Georgia. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Yankees Baseball, along with John Flaherty. I'm Michael Kay. Well, the Yankees are looking for the three-game sweep. Remember, they had a rough homestand where they were 5-5. They go out on the road, and the Braves seem to be the right tonic for them. Let's take a look now at the pitching matchup in this game, brought to you by People's United Bank N.A. See what know-how can do for you. Julio Teheran is going to start for the Braves. He's been hot of late. In August, 5 starts, 3-0, 2.73. And then there's Nathan Eovaldi. In his last 12 starts, John, he's been as good as any pitcher. Why the next level?
Well, I think there are a few things, Michael. Obviously, he's throwing the splitter a lot more. It's become a pitch that he's a lot more comfortable with, and he gets plenty of swings and misses with that pitch. But I think he's also pitching a little bit more, throwing more off-speed pitches early in counts, slowing hitters down, and then able to dominate with the fastball. But if you want one reason, it has to be the split finger. Last time out, 8 shutout innings against Houston. He's become an ace of the staff.
And the guy that's going to be catching him is Brian McCann. It's been a homecoming for McCann, and you know what? He's done very, very well on Friday. That big home run yesterday, he had a big double as well. When we come back, lineups, first pitch, baseball next. Today for incredible deals on the 2015 Hyundai Sonata by USAA, proudly serving the needs of the military community for over 90 years. And by Honda, great deals are on at the Honda Summer Clearance Event. Boy, when you woke up today here in Atlanta, you did not think there was going to be baseball. Terrible, terrible storms, heavy rain, and the field was covered until about noon today, but John, looks like there's clearing and that we will have baseball.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to clear up. We'll be able to get this game in, and a lot chillier here in Atlanta at the end of August than you would have expected. But the Yankees a hot team, winning 2 games already, looking for the sweep, and then you head up to Boston and look forward to a Yankee-Red Sox rivalry series.
And Nathan Eovaldi will get the start for the Yankees against Julio Teheran. Umpires are at home plate. So why don't we take a look at the Yankees starting lineup, which is presented by Lexus. Yankees are 71-57. And they'll lead off their center fielder, Jacoby Ellsbury. In left field, it's Brett Gardner batting second. Hitting third, playing right field, Carlos Beltran. Brian McCann will catch. He'll clean up. Batting fifth, playing first base, Greg Bird. Chase Headley at third base will bat sixth. Batting seventh, playing shortstop, Didi Gregorius. Stephen Drew at second base. He'll hit eighth. Batting ninth. No DH in the National League ballpark. The pitcher, Nathan Eovaldi. Quiet crowd here at Turner Field. And really still some sadness. There will be for a while. The loss of a fan last night who fell from the upper deck and died upon impact here in the lower deck at Turner Field. And before the game, the Braves had a moment of silence for Greg Murray, 60 years old, longtime season ticket holder here in Atlanta. And he passed away after that fall last night. The Yankees and the Steinbrenner family asked that we pass along their sincerest condolences and sympathies to the family of Greg Murray, and the Braves also released a statement echoing those feelings. So everybody here at Yes sends along our condolences as well. Just an awful tragedy. A lot of the families from both teams were sitting in the area where the man fell, and just an awful thing. And even Joe Girardi said today, a lot of the players were wondering why they didn't stop the game. But they did not stop the game. No one was aware of the severity until a little bit later on. Well, the Braves have taken the field. We told you about Julio Teheran. He's 9-6 with a 4.29. Let's take a look at all the numbers.
Yeah, he kind of started off slow, but the numbers have been getting better. The ERA now at 4.29. And we'll look at our pitcher scouting report, which is brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealers. Trying to finish up strong. His last 5 outings, he's 3-0 with a 2.73 ERA. And fantastic numbers here at home at Turner Field. 7-1, 2.55 ERA. And the one thing the Yankees need to pay attention to, he has 5 pickoffs for a right-handed pitcher. That is second only to Jordan Zimmerman with the Washington Nationals.
Why don't we take a look at the defense behind Julio Teheran? And the defense is presented by Geico. Swisher, Bourne, and Markakis left to right in the outfield. In the infield, it's Garcia, Simmons. Simmons, a 2-time Gold Glove winner at short. Peterson's at second, and Freddie Freeman over at first. A.J. Przinsky, the veteran, he'll be behind the plate. And 24-year-old Julio Teheran is on the mound. Now let's take a look at the game time weather presented by Bigelow Tea. Told you it rained earlier. It's 71 degrees right now. High humidity 73%. Wind is 9 miles per hour. There's a forecast of scattered thunderstorms in the area. Skies do not look that promising, but again, all the information that we've been made aware of say that there is a window to play baseball here today, and we're hoping that that window is wide enough for 9 innings between the Yankees and the Braves, and we thank you for spending part of your Sunday afternoon with us. So Jacoby Ellsbury digs in. He's ready. Julio Teheran is ready. And let's do it here in Atlanta. First pitch is grounded, right side through for a base hit. Ellsbury has been hot at the plate. He's 10 for his last 28 now after that base hit.
Well, obviously swinging a hot bat like you mentioned, Michael, but coming into the series, the Yankees didn't know if he was going to be a player with that hip problem. Well, not only is he a player, he's a red-hot player. It's a couple of good plays in center field and swinging a good bat.
That's going to bring up Brett Gardner. Gardner at 271, 12 homers and 54 runs batted in. And the young right-hander sets and deals. 1-0.
Yeah, you would figure this would be the one game out of the 3 where the Yankees really are going to have to earn this win. Teheran, an outstanding young pitcher, had an ERA of 3.16 for his career coming in. The number's not that great this year, but they have gotten a lot better lately. Good fastball, a swing and a miss slider, an occasional curveball, and sometimes he'll throw a changeup, but pretty much fastball slider combination. High fly ball, center field.
Michael Bourne will put it away. One down. Ed Hickox is the home plate umpire. Paul Noward at first, Dana DeMuth at second, and Mike Estabrook is over third. Here's Carlos Beltran batting in the number 3 spot in the Yankee order. Garcia way off the line at third. Beltran does go line to line. And the pitch is outside. Carlos had his 11-game hitting streak snapped with an 0 for 2 last night, hitting .278. But after an awful start in April, over a .300 hitter, he's been very consistent at the plate.
Well, he got off to a slow start, like you mentioned, and been battling some nagging injuries, but now in there every day and a very productive hitter in the middle of the lineup. Again, Mark Teixeira is still bothered with his shin problem, so still not in the lineup, and Beltran been taking his place and been a productive player.
Well, the Blue Jays just don't stop. 2-0 on a Donaldson and an Encarnacion home run against the Tigers.
Pretty good stretch for Encarnacion. 3 home runs yesterday, a home run already today.
Count 2-1, so they're putting pressure on the Yankees.
Have you ever seen hats thrown on a baseball field for a hat trick with the home runs?
I think I've seen it. I can't recall exactly where. It was funny, though, that Encarnacion had no idea what hat trick meant. His teammates had to tell him. And the key to that is that Toronto's a hockey town, and that's what they do when you get a hat trick in hockey.
Well, I saw Encarnacion had a big bag filled with all the hats by his locker, and he said he's going to sign them and get them back to the fans who threw them out there.
That one is lined into left center field. It is a base hit. Swisher will field. Moving to second is Ellsbury. And Beltran starts another hitting streak.
You know, Michael, and just what you said, Beltran will go line to line. He gets a pitch up out over the plate. Przinsky catching today, and he just stays on it and flips it the other way for just another base hit.
Now to bring up Brian McCann, but first a look at the Honda League leaders. And it's home runs by catchers in the major leagues. Brian McCann well in front of everybody else with 23. The Royals, Salvador Perez with 18. Wellington Castillo and Stephen Vogt with 17 are in third place. That's grounded and grabbed by Freeman. He'll take it to first as the runners move up. Took a double away from McCann.
Well, Brian McCann playing all 3 games in the series, day game after a night game, and his old teammate Freddie Freeman making a nice play going to his left. And you're right, Michael, taking a double away. McCann swinging a good bat lately, hits his ball hard again.
Well, that'll bring up Greg Bird with runners on second and third. 2 men out, just underway here in Atlanta. And a strike. Be interesting to see what they do against the Red Sox. Red Sox are sending 2 left-handers out in the 3-game set. So who will play first base if Mark Teixeira cannot play? Would Alex Rodriguez grab a glove and play first base? That would open up right field for Chris Young and the DH spot for Carlos Beltran.
Well, Meredith Marakovitz talked about in the pregame show. Alex Rodriguez was taking ground balls before last night's game at first base. Seen that before. He didn't look 100% comfortable. I'd be surprised if Girardi went that way.
The 0-2. 1-2.
Good take right there from Greg Bird, and that's the one spot we've seen some opposing pitchers try to exploit a little weakness or a hole in his swing. Up and in. I was talking to Roy White about this, great Yankee at the stadium, and he said, you know what, you don't have to be able to hit it. You just have to learn to lay off of it. So a good take right there from Greg Bird.
Swing and a miss. So they get Bird on the strikeout. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 2 men left. Yankees nothing. And the Braves coming to bat. On the mound. And it's time now to take a look at the Braves starting lineup presented by your local Acura dealer. The right fielder is Nick Markakis. He leads off, batting second, playing left field. Former Yankee Nick Swisher, Freddie Freeman at first will hit third. The veteran catcher A.J. Przinsky will clean up, batting fifth, and playing third base Adonis Garcia. Jace Peterson at second base will bat sixth. Batting seventh, playing shortstop Andrelton Simmons. Michael Bourne in center field hits eighth, and batting ninth and pitching Julio Teheran.
Well, that lineup is going to go to work against Nathan Eovaldi, finishing up his warm-up tosses, and we'll look at his numbers on the year. An impressive win total at 13, the ERA an even 4. And we'll look at our pitcher scouting report, which is brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealers. Early on in the year, you would say that Nathan Eovaldi would not go deep into games. That now is history. 7 innings against the Twins, 8 shutout innings last time against Houston, and he's throwing a split a lot more in August, over 32% of the time. And the one negative, he's struggled a little bit this year in interleague play. 4 starts, 0-1 with an ERA over 11. You think back to that one game against the Marlins where he got beat up, but he's had 3 other starts and they haven't gone much better.
Here is Markakis. He swings and misses.
We've seen this from Eovaldi lately. First pitch curveballs of the game, which you usually don't see. A lot of times it's fastball away. Get a feel for your mechanics for the strike zone with the home plate umpire. Last couple of starts, first pitch breaking ball, and you get to swing and a miss.
Oh, and 2.
First split finger fastball that we've seen this afternoon at 93 miles an hour. If you look at the numbers on the year, he's obviously feeling more comfortable with that pitch, changed his grip up a little bit and throwing it over 32% of the time in the month of August.
And John, in the month of April, he used it 5.6% of the time, so it's been a steady progression as he has become more comfortable and has become a great weapon for him. It's probably taken him to that next level.
Well, it has, and we talked about it in the open, but what we also talked about is how he's pitching to hitters now. First pitch curveball, then a split, then a high fastball. Goes back with a split and misses down, and I bring that up because his fastball early on was getting hit so hard. He wasn't doing a good job of setting it up. Now he slows hitters down and is able to elevate the fastball and get some swings and misses.
Still 1 and 2.
If you think about it from an opposing hitter standpoint, you have a lot to deal with. You have a curveball, slider, split that's in the low 90s, and oh yeah, the fastballs upper 90s can hit 100 miles an hour. Great stuff is putting it all together and finally figuring out how to win at the big league level.
And the 1-2 fouled away. That was 101 miles per hour.
If you look at Eovaldi's year, the 13 wins, and a lot of the big reason early on the Yankees would score a ton of runs in his starts. He was able to pick up some W's, but now the ERA in an even 4. You could put that win total with an ERA somewhere in the 3s. You have a top of the rotation pitcher.
Breaking ball, no bite, 2-2. Markakis has a 10-game hitting streak, hitting .299. Chopped over the mound. Here's Gregorius. One away. Let's check out the Yankee defense presented by Geico. In the outfield, you've got Gardner, Ellsbury, and Beltran left to right. Infield, it's Headley, Gregorius, Drew, and Bird. Third to first, McCann behind the plate. And we've told you all about Eovaldi on the mound. Here's Nick Swisher. 10 for 41 since joining the Braves. 1-0. Nick was all excited when he signed the free agent contract with the Indians. Never really worked out there. Went to Ohio State and really talked up joining that team. But his knees have betrayed him, couldn't stay healthy, really was not an effective player for the Indians, and they traded Nick and Michael Bourne here. Grounded to first. Bird takes it himself. 2 outs.
Well, the Yankee pitching staff has really done a nice job in this series, and we talked early on, this Atlanta Braves club. They don't hit a lot of home runs. They don't score many runs. The Yankees have taken advantage of that. Severino last night, dominant 6 innings.
Here's Freddie Freeman. And Eovaldi deals. 1-0. Braves 54 and 73. They have not done well against AL teams this year. They're 5-11 in interleague play. The Braves are 54 and 73 overall, but over 500 at home, 33 and 28.
Going through a tough stretch, have 1 win in the last 12 games, the Atlanta Braves, so kind of limping to the finish line.
And they've lost 26 of 35. Freeman fouls off the 100-mile-an-hour fastball. On July 8th, the Braves were surprising everybody. 42 and 42. But since that date, they're 12 and 33 as their season has kind of gone downhill. The 2-2. Strike 3. Freeman down looking. A strong first inning for Nathan Eovaldi as he retires the Braves in order 1-2-3. We go to the second, 0-0. It's that kind of summer event. By the New York Lottery, hey, you never know. And by People's United Bank N.A., checking that wins, expertise that wows. A superhero day here in Atlanta, so if you wore a superhero costume, you could go out on the field, and they had a parade before the game, so see a lot of Batmans and Supermans and such. We go to the second inning, nothing. Chase Headley will start it off against Julio Teheran. Yankees picked up a couple of hits in the first inning, could not get the big one to score a run. 1-0.
Chase 1 for 4 last night with a double.
The 2-1. Now, we've told you the Braves are rebuilding. They're pointing toward 2017 when they move into their new ballpark, and they believe that Teheran will be here. They've invested in him. February 14, 2014, they signed him to a 6-year deal. They also have an option for 2020. So they expect him to be part of the answer here. Not someone that will be shipped out. 3-2. Foul back.
Well, they have to be pleased, the Braves do, with how he has turned his season around. In the middle of the year, he had an ERA over 5. All of a sudden, things getting better. The ERA moving down to the low 4s. There's a lot to like about his game. He's young, he's got a power arm, and a big-time slider.
And Headley works a walk. That's going to bring up Didi Gregorius. And when Didi looks out at shortstop for the Braves, he sees a guy that he's known since they were both 5 years old. Andrelton Simmons, both from Curaçao. And they played on the same teams growing up, where Simmons would play shortstop and Gregorius would play second. And when one of them would pitch, if it was Simmons, then Gregorius would move over to short. Prior to the game, they were catching up yesterday, and when Gregorius struggled the first month and a half of the season, Simmons called him and said, just do what you do and don't do more than that. Really good story in the New York Times about that today by Billy Wiltz, so give that a read. It's also pretty amazing, John, if you think about it. Curaçao is an island of 154,000 people, and you've got Gregorius, and you've got Simmons, and you've got Jonathan Scope. Pretty good.
Well, you mentioned Simmons and his gold gloves, and you think about Didi and how solid he has been. You wonder if that's a possibility in the future, and we just saw the numbers in this series swinging a hot bat.
Another name, Jurickson Profar. I think a lot of teams will be scouting Curaçao.
I mentioned Teheran and that big-time slider that he has, and if you look at the Yankee lineups with the switch hitters, everybody hitting from the left side except Eovaldi when he comes up there. Kind of negates that slider a little bit.
2-2. 2-2. Swing and a miss. Gregorius down on strikes.
Well, second strikeout. See, the ball's down a little bit, and it has a little bit of a run away from the lefties.
You know, Xander Bogaerts, another kid that came from Curacao. But the reason you pair up Scope, Gregorius, and Simmons, they were all the same age and they all played on the same team. They came up at the exact same time. Oh and 1 on Stephen Drew. There's a base hit. And that moves Headley to second.
Well, that's the one thing that Stephen Drew really hasn't done a great job this year at, is hitting the ball the other way. Left side, he kind of gets the bat head out and hooks everything into right field. Here, he just lets it travel a little bit, drive it the other way. Well, it was a few games ago he had that batting average right at 200. Now it's dropped back again.
John, I don't understand why he doesn't use that side of the field. I know he wants to hit home runs, but we wouldn't be talking about under 200, under 200. He'd be over 200, and maybe he wouldn't be at 15 home runs, but he has not used that side of the field at all.
Yeah, and I remember about a month and a half ago, he was saying that, you know what, I'm going to start going the other way a little bit more. It just hasn't happened. You see the career batting average for Eovaldi. I have to believe he's going to be laying down a sacrifice bunt here.
He's already squared. There's a strike.
Well, Eovaldi spending time with the Marlins in the National League, so obviously used to this style of play.
One and one. Freeman really in at first. Garcia kind of hedging his bet because he wants to receive the throw.
Yeah, this is no gimme situation here. Sacrifice bunt. Headley doesn't have greatest speed out at second. Freeman way in, challenging Eovaldi.
Right back to the pitcher. Throws to third, on to first. Not in time. So Tehran to Garcia.
Well, it's tough enough to get the bunt down. Eovaldi does that, but it's right back to the pitcher. So an easy play for everybody. Garcia hangs at third. He goes back to the bag. Pierzynski screaming three. Then you start thinking about the possibility of a double play. Eovaldi got down the line in pretty good shape.
Here's Ellsbury. Foul back to the screen.
Ed Hickok's behind the plate. A fastball inside there to Ellsbury. Did not give Tehran the call. It's going to be a big pitch as this game moves forward, and Tehran tries to get through a lineup a couple of times with all lefties. Got to bury that fastball in.
Drew off second, Eovaldi off first. 2-1 count on Ellsbury. Fouls it away. Out of play. 2-2.
Ellsbury does a good job in these situations. Runners in scoring position with 2 outs. Batting average at .308.
Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 on. So now the count goes full and the runners will go.
If you're Ellsbury, you got to be hunting that fastball. Pretty much all we've seen from Tehran early on in this game. Ellsbury, you step into that box, you're thinking he can't drop an off-speed pitch 3-2. If he does, you tip your hat to him. Look for that fastball.
And Brzezinski wants to talk to his pitcher.
You wonder if he's going to try to get him to throw a slider in a 3-2 count. Ellsbury a little bit late on that last fastball, was supposed to be inside.
Runners go, and that one's drilled deep to right field. There it goes. See ya. A 3-run home run for Ellsbury. And the Yankees are up 3-0.
Well, the numbers were good for Ellsbury with runners in scoring position, 2 outs. Those are the huge swings of the bat. You get those 2-out base hits. Ellsbury does one better. A 3-run home run, a big smile on his face as he greets his teammates. And it was the slider on a 3-2 count. Brzezinski went out and talked to him. And it just kind of spun middle of the plate. Obviously wanted to throw it for a strike. Ellsbury takes advantage. The Yankees playing with a lead.
A lot of Yankee fans here at Turner Field. You can hear the Let's Go Yankees chant. Count 0-2 on Gardner. Popped up, shallow center, Simmons out, Bourne in, and Bourne makes the play, battling the sun, which is trying to peek through for the final out. But Jacoby Ellsbury getting hot. He hits one into the seats, his 7th home run of the year, a 3-run shot. We go to the bottom of the 2nd. What do you think has become the biggest key to Nathan Eovaldi's success over the last 2 months? Bronx Project says at first it was the run support. Now it's the location and the use of his entire repertoire of pitches. Follow Yes Network and tweet us your responses using hashtag Yankees Prius to keep the conversation going. John, the 3-run home run has been a huge weapon for the Yankees. Jacoby Ellsbury's 3-run home run was the Yankees' 35th such home run of the year, or two runners on or more. They have 28 3-run home runs and 7 grand slams, so 35. The next closest team is Toronto with 25. So they have used that to their advantage, and they have a 3-0 lead as Przinsky leads off.
When I talked about it, those 2-out base hits are huge, and you throw a multiple-run home run up there against a team that doesn't score a lot, is going through a tough stretch. Exactly what you're looking for if you're the Yankees early on with one of your hottest pitchers on the mound.
It's true, a lot of Eovaldi's success early was predicated on unbelievable run support. But that has not been the case of late. I mean, he has not pitched at times with much run support at all and still kept the team in the game. He's throwing up zeros. And he does not need 7-8 runs a game. He'll take it, but that's not been the reason for his success.
No, he's been a dominant pitcher lately, and that ERA coming in at a level 4. Easy play for Drew right there. But, you know, the big thing for me, Michael, is now going deeper into ball games. 2 starts ago against the Twins, 7 innings. Last time out, 8 innings. And that's really what the Yankees have been lacking this year, is that one pitcher like a Sabathia in his prime. When you knew it was going to be 7, 8, you give the bullpen a day off. Eovaldi has taken on that responsibility lately.
Well, speaking of run support, John, the Blue Jays are now up 6-0. Bottom of the 4th inning over Detroit. Now here's Adonis Garcia. 1-0. Line drive, base hit to left field. First base runner for the Braves against Eovaldi.
Well, we just had that question on what has made Eovaldi so good the last couple of months, and a big reason why you see that big 12-6 hammer. And it's not a great pitch for a swing and a miss. It's a good pitch to get back into counts, and that's what he tried to do right there, and Garcia hammered it in the left. And the split has gotten all the attention, and rightfully so. And we talked about the percentages and how much he throws it lately, but he is a 4-pitch pitcher. And you would have to say the slider, split, and fastball all are above average, and the curveball may be just an average pitch.
Jace Peterson fouls it back.
Well, this would have to be the best case scenario, right, Michael? I mean, we were down in Tampa in spring training getting to know Eovaldi, and everybody was saying he's got a big arm, and pitching coach Larry Rothschild's going to take him to the next level. Well, it's all coming together here at the end of August.
You know, John, in basketball, they have a saying, you can't teach height. You can't teach velocity. So a guy that throws 100 miles an hour, you think you could work with him. And the Yankees have worked with him, and now he's developed into a top-flight starter, top of the rotation starter.
Well, and just think about it. A couple of months ago when Eovaldi would take the mound, did you feel like it was going to be a dominating performance?
No.
No. He was going to give up a lot of hits. And we were always talking, how does he give up these hits throwing 100 miles an hour? Well, those conversations are over.
Well, he had an under 500 career record coming into the season. He gave up more hits than innings pitched. Gave up more hits than any pitcher in the National League last year. But the Yankees saw the arm and said, let's take a chance. And so far it's paid off. 1-2. 2-2.
Well, you hear all the time that big league hitters can hit velocity. You know, 198, it doesn't matter if that is in a fastball count. But now when you watch Eovaldi throw that fastball and that pitch right there, 1-2, it's an off-speed count. He's able to rush that fastball by some hitters. I just think the whole art of pitching and pitching behind, throwing off-speed pitches and fastball counts, pitching backwards, it's all come together.
And another part of his game that it's hard to figure out, a hard-throwing right-hander. You don't run against him. Got a very good move to first.
Yeah, he's got quick feet.
Breaking ball, strike three, froze Peterson. 2 away.
I just talked about that breaking ball, that it's not really a strikeout pitch. Well, it is when you throw it back door and it clips the outside corner.
Here's Simmons. Oh, and 1. Mentioned that Simmons and Gregorius grew up together. Gregorius was actually born in the Netherlands and then moved to Curacao when he was young, and these two met each other when they were 5 years old. And the thing that Simmons says he always remembered, according to the New York Times story, is that the first time he ever saw D.D. Gregorius was wearing a long-sleeve green shirt. And he laughed at him. He said nobody wore sleeves in Curacao. He said most people didn't wear shirts. He said, but he was wearing a long-sleeve shirt. Now he tests out his buddy, backhand, and gets the force at second, and that'll do it. No runs are hit, no errors, and 1 man left. We go to the third, it's 3-0 Yanks. Use hashtag SDataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Now we go to the third inning. Carlos Beltran will lead off against Julio Teheran. A 3-run home run by Ellsbury in the second, the only runs in the game. And there's a strike by the Braves' 24-year-old righty. Popped up. And Brzezinski gives it a look. You know, we've seen this before, John. When Ellsbury gets hot, he can carry a team. He could just go off for a month, hit like 370, and what a bonus that would be for the Yankees in the stretch drive of September.
Well, it really would be, but I think if you think more specifically now with Mark Teixeira out of the lineup and Alex Rodriguez struggling, he's really become an important hitter in the middle.
Fly ball to Bourne. Now, we've seen the outfielders having some issues on the Audi A3 scoreboard. Yankees up 3-0 because it's an overcast day, but every now and then the sun is going to peek through, and you get in trouble when the fly ball goes up and all of a sudden the sun appears.
Michael Bourne wearing those sunglasses. A.J. Pierzynski behind the plate doing the same thing.
We told you about Toronto with a 6-0 lead. Tampa Bay and KC 2-2 bottom of the third. Mets lead the Red Sox 1-0 top of the fifth. After this game, the Yankees will head to Boston for a 3-game set at Fenway. And I think it's a cliche, John. You could throw the records away. You know the Red Sox, who are playing much better of late, scoring a lot of runs, would love to really hurt the Yankees' chances. Fly ball right center. Bourne angling and making the play.
No, you're right. If you looked at the schedule in Atlanta, who's having a tough time, okay, the Yankees trying to take advantage of this series, and then you go to Boston against the Red Sox, last place club, and you think that it would be a pretty good matchup, but you're right. They are playing much better, and you see the pitching probable starters for the series. Porcello's been throwing better lately. The sinker has returned.
And all three of those games on yes.
You're the Yankees. You got to go up there and you're going to earn it for the next 3 days. I think this series is so important. The Yankees coming off maybe a tough homestand. Try to get the sweep of the series today and move up to Boston and enjoy that rivalry.
John, just look at what the Red Sox have done with the Mets. Mets, one of the hottest teams in baseball, and the Red Sox have gone in and won the first 2 games of that series at Citi Field.
There's a lot going on in Boston, too. John Farrell going through his chemotherapy treatments. Torey Lovullo, the new manager, interim manager, doing a nice job. General manager is out, new president in.
Presently interviewing GM candidates. (3-1). Bird fouls it away. Baltimore and Texas will start in about 40 minutes. And Bird walks. 2-out walk. Second walk for Tehran. Here's Chase Headley, as now the field is bathed in sunlight. Pitch outside.
It is hard to believe when you look out at that field right now. We woke up this morning and all the storms that were moving through the Atlanta area, and everybody was talking about, are there any mutual off days? Is the last time these two are supposed to hook up? It turned out to be a nice afternoon.
That one is driven to center field. Deep. Going back, Bourne on the track at the wall. See ya. A 2-run home run for Headley. And the Yankees take a 5-0 lead. So that 2-out walk comes back to bite Tehran as he has to face Headley, who hits one over the center field wall.
Well, we talked during the first game of this series. Turner Field is a big ballpark, but the ball usually carries well. Chase Headley going dead central. Another 2-out hit, another 2-out home run. Headley, obviously, from his times in San Diego, a lot of experience playing in this field, goes dead central, and the Yankees lead 5-0.
Little fist pump by John Ryan Murphy as the Yankees are up 5-0. Pitch outside to Didi.
As good as Tehran has been lately for the Atlanta Braves, that's his 4th home run in his last 2 outings. Giving up. That'll get your attention right there. We haven't seen too many fastballs inside to the lefties. Day game after a night game, this will wake you up if you're Gregorius.
Strike on the outside corner, 2-1.
There is always one guy on a staff who gets all the run support. This year it's been Eovaldi. No different this afternoon. 5 runs already for him to work with.
Now let's take a look at this swing by Headley on Yes Mo, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz Tri-State Dealer.
Well, the swing looked pretty good in real time. You have to imagine on Yes Mo it's going to look even better. And what you really notice how early the foot gets down. And the fastball is located down middle, and Headley, all he has to do is drop the bat head over 400 feet away.
Ten home runs for Headley, 55 runs batted in. Drilled deep to right field. That ball is gone. See ya. A 2-run home run for Stephen Drew. It's 7-0 Yankees.
Well, you think about Stephen Drew when he goes the other way and picks up a base hit in the 2nd inning. Catchers and pitchers have to change their game plan a little bit. Fastball out over, and it leaks back to the middle of the plate. This is what we've seen Drew do all year long. Bat head out and pull the ball just inside that fair pole. If you're the Yankees, you thought this was going to be the toughest matchup with Tehran on the mound.
Well, fans, it's early, and the Yankees have already scored 6 runs, so log on to papajohns.com tomorrow for 50% off your online regular menu price order. Use promo code Yankee6 at papajohns.com. Not only do they have 6, they have 7. And the 1-2 to Eovaldi. 2-2.
Again, Eovaldi is that guy on the Yankee staff in the rotation. Gets all the run support, 7 runs.
Strike 3. Eovaldi down looking. But the Yankees put a 4 spot on the board. A couple of 2-run home runs. The final one, Stephen Drew with a 2-run blast. Tehran's trying to urge it foul. Yankees 1 game back in the loss column behind the Blue Jays in the American League East, 1.5 games behind. Yankees lead the first wild card by 4 over the Rangers, and then the Twins 1.5 games behind Texas. The Angels 2.5. Well, if you watch the Twins play the Yankees, their bullpen looked so shaky. You thought that could be the end for them, but they've turned it around.
You know, and then you look at the Angels behind them, which you thought would be in pretty good shape out in the West or the wild card. But I think just the fact that Trout and Pujols, really your 2 main guys, not getting contributions from much else.
So, Eovaldi gets run support. It's 7-0. Here's Michael Bourne to start the bottom of the 3rd on the Audi A3 scoreboard.
Well, we've seen this so many times with Eovaldi that now it's not really a concern. Sometimes you're concerned pitchers will change their game plan with a 7-0 lead. Eovaldi and Brian McCann always sticking to what they have talked about before. Off-speed pitches early in counts. Just keep pitching your game. It's been successful here the last couple of months. Keep going with it. It's hard to imagine when you look up there, Michael Bourne on the year, he's hitting .228. I feel like with his speed, he'd be a batting average would be a little more impressive than that.
Swing and a miss. Bourne down on strikes. 3rd strikeout for Eovaldi.
3rd strikeout, and if you look at the pitch, it's a split, and it's not a great one. It just kind of stays up. But when you're throwing 98, 99 miles an hour earlier in the count, if you're Bourne, you're going to be just a little bit too quick.
So despite giving up 7 runs, they let Tehran bat.
If you're Eovaldi and Brian McCann, you take advantage of that. Hitting .075, Tehran is coming into this at bat. If you're Eovaldi, just challenge the strike zone, take the out. 3 for 40 on the year.
And look at that, they go 3-0.
The year and a half I spent in the National League, you have pitchers who put a lot of pressure on themselves. All I have to do is throw it over the plate. As they're 3-0, you'd expect them to do the same thing. Brian McCann set up right down the middle. You don't even need a sign right here.
Tehran fouls it away.
And all fastballs to this point. You don't expect it to change here. 3-2, set up middle of the plate.
Has to get a new bat. Told you about the run support for Eovaldi. 1 pitcher has better run support by a full run. Drew Hutchison of the Blue Jays, they get him 8.31 runs per 9 innings. Eovaldi coming in 7.06. Mark Burley of Toronto, 7.04. Hutchison has the same record as Eovaldi, 13-2. Grounded and stopped by Bird. He flips to Eovaldi. 2 away.
A good play all the way around. Nice job by Eovaldi coming back when you're behind 3-0. You keep pounding the strike zone, you get a ground ball. A good play by Bird going to his right. He has to lay out. Once you make that part of the play, the rest of it is going to be easy with the pitcher running. Take your time, deliver the good flip. Good play all the way around. Mark Burley still getting it done there in Toronto.
Amazing. He looked shot for a while, and now he's pitching very, very well. Well, everybody on that team's getting run support. Pitch to Markakis, up and away. Two and 0. Eovaldi's made 25 starts before today, and the team is 17-8 in those starts. That's 100 miles an hour. And Eovaldi, coming into this game, had the highest average fastball velocity per Fangraphs, 96.6. Matt Harvey is second at 96, and Garrett Cole of the Pirates, 95.6. 3-1.
You know, you hear me talk all the time about body language, and when you watch Eovaldi now, I mean, all the success he has had putting it all together, and you could tell every time he takes the mound, not really thinking about mechanics, just competing. Disappointed right there with a 2-out walk.
Two base runners for the Braves. A single by Garcia in the second. Now a walk to Markakis in the third. Boston's now taking a 2-1 lead over the Mets, top of the sixth inning. 2-run home run by David Ortiz. His 494th career home run. Breaking ball to Swisher is low and inside. Yankees have the shift on for their former teammate. Three infielders on the right side. Drew playing in short right field. 2-0.
That's the last thing you want to be doing if you're Nathan Eovaldi out on the mound. A 2-out walk to Markakis, now falling behind on Swisher. 7-run lead. Not only are you thinking about winning this game, you're saving the bullpen a little bit if you can keep the pitch count down.
There's a strike.
We talk about the velocity on the fastball all the time, but when you're watching today and you think back to past starts, he's not wild with that fastball either. I mean, he's pretty much dotting the outside corner, just missing, able to elevate when he wants.
Just foul.
This is what we saw early on when Eovaldi got himself into some fastball counts and he had to throw the fastball. The swings were really good and it would get hit hard. Right there, Nick Swisher ahead in the count, 2-1. Doesn't really have to worry about anything else. You take a chance, you're going to get a fastball. Just a little bit too quick. Now you don't know what's coming. Is it going to be the split? Is it going to be another fastball that's elevated? With the breaking ball, looked like a little slurve right there, misses in. That's where if you're Brian McCann, you put down a pitch, you just want to make sure it's going to be a strike. You can throw an off-speed pitch, 7-run lead, throw it for a strike. Good job right there. Curveball, he just dropped it on the outer half. Biggest thing now in this situation isn't so much about pitch selection and what pitch you're going to throw. It's just the ability to make sure that whatever it is, it's thrown for a strike. Fastball, curveball, slider, split.
3-2. Swisher walks first and second with 2 outs.
Make a pitching coach stir a little bit right there. Back-to-back walks with 2 outs. But to my point about Eovaldi, he doesn't miss by a lot. He always seems to just miss off the plate or just miss down. McCann setting up on the outside corner, and the fastball's down and maybe a little off, and they don't get the call.
Oh and 1. Broken bat, looper into left field. That is going to dunk in for a base hit. Markakis will score. Swisher goes to second. Freeman picks up a bloop RBI single. And the Braves are on the board at 7-1 Yanks.
You can see a look of frustration on Eovaldi's face right there. He's probably more frustrated with the back-to-back walks. Freeman gets jammed, and it is a looping base hit and an RBI, but good hitters always seem to get jammed, fight the ball off the other way, and he's strong enough. He's just out of the reach of Gregorius. A.J. Pierzynski first pitch hacking on that split. At 38 years old, the oldest major league catcher to put on the tools of ignorance this year. Still getting it done. High batting average. Good numbers with runners in scoring position, 315.
Found it sharply and off the glove of Gregorius into left field. Scoring is Swisher. It's an RBI single for Pierzynski. And the Yankees lead is now 7-2, 5 runs.
Well, it's unusual to see because Eovaldi has been so good lately. 2 quick outs, couple of walks, now a couple of base hits, and this one is hit hard by Pierzynski. Gregorius tries to go with the backhand. He doesn't come up with it. Nick Swisher will score easily. A hot shot to Gregorius' right. Larry Rothschild out to have a conversation. This is a situation a pitching coach can get heated. It's 7-run lead. Now it's down to 5. Attack early, throw strikes, be aggressive. .60 pitches already with 2 outs here in the third. That conversation early on about Eovaldi being the one to eat up some innings and save the bullpen, it doesn't look like that's going to happen this afternoon. The bullpen will be a factor.
Here's Garcia. He had a single left in the second, and that one is lined right at Drew. They had him played beautifully, and the inning is over, but not before the Braves scored 2 runs on 2 hits, no errors, and 2 men left. There's 3 in the books, 7-2 Yanks. September 10th when the Yankees take on the Blue Jays. That's a big game anyway. And it's also one of the hottest collectible days of the season. It's Babe Ruth bobblehead night, the final one of the 2015 collectible series presented by AT&T for the first 18,000 guests in attendance. For tickets, log on to Yankees.com, visit the Yankee Stadium ticket window. Yankees clubhouse shops, or call Ticketmaster at 877-469-9849. And there's the Babe Ruth bobblehead outside of Turner Field. And Jacoby Ellsbury takes a strike. Lincoln scoreboard 7-2, Yankees lead as we start the fourth. One and one. Evaldi singled to right in the first, or should I say Ellsbury singled to right in the first, and then he had a 3-run home run in the second. First runs of the game. And a strike.
When you look over the numbers for Tehran, was his fastball about 61% of the time, the slider about 23% of the time. He stayed away from that slider a little bit here with all the left-handed hitters for the Yankees. One slider he did throw was to Ellsbury, and he crushed it for a 3-run bomb. There's a changeup, a pitch he doesn't throw a lot, but we'll go back to that home run. Brzezinski went out to have a conversation on a 3-2 count. If you throw the slider right here, you might be able to get Ellsbury. He threw the slider, but it just rolled middle of the plate. Home run number 7, a quick 3-0 lead for the Yankees.
Did you find, John, that when you had to convince a pitcher to throw a pitch, that he wasn't throwing it with the same conviction?
You know, pitching coaches will tell you all the time that it might be the wrong pitch that a pitcher throws, but if he believes it's the right one, it's going to be a better pitch. It's going to be executed. There'll be more conviction behind it. You wonder if Brzezinski maybe talked a young pitcher into throwing a pitch. His heart wasn't set on it, and he just kind of rolled it in there for a strike and paid the price.
Yankees have 3 home runs in the game. Ellsbury, the 3-run shot in the second, a 2-run shot by Headley in the third, and a 2-run shot by Drew in the third.
I think here we're seeing with this Yankee lineup being all left-handed hitters except Evaldi, they're taking advantage of Tehran. He doesn't feel comfortable throwing his slider as much to the lefties as he does to the righties. They can pretty much look for that fastball. He's thrown a couple of change-ups. He doesn't feel comfortable throwing that pitch, and the Yankees are taking advantage.
Ellsbury 24 for his last 65. That's 369 over his last 16 games, and he's raised his average from 260 to 282 in that short period of time.
Let me say that's what we've seen from Ellsbury as a New York Yankee. When he gets hot, he gets really hot. 2-3 hits a game. See, there's just no place to go for Tehran here. He can't locate the fastball in, so he throws fastballs away. Ellsbury just fouling them off. He threw a slider for a strike, fouled it off. If he had any confidence in that changeup, that would be a pitch that Brzezinski would need to call. It's going to be a moving fastball inside.
That one is lined to right field. It is caught by Markakis. He got a good jump. And the 12 pitch at bat was won by Tehran, but thanks to his defense, it was won by Tehran.
Well, we've seen this for years from Nick Markakis with his time with Baltimore. Plays a very solid right field and gets a good jump on a line drive. A great at bat from Ellsbury. Hits the ball hard again. Gets robbed by the Braves right fielder.
Gardner takes outside.
Went with a bigger curveball right there. There's a pitch he only throws about 7% of the time. Drops it in there for a strike.
Fly ball, left center, long run for Bourne, and he makes the play. So Bourne and Markakis cover a lot of real estate to record the first 2 outs.
Yeah, Brett Gardner hits this ball well, and the wind may be helping this to the left center field gap away from Bourne. Doesn't run like he used to when he was a younger man, but still plenty to make that play in left center field.
Here's Carlos Beltran, 1 for 2 today. 5 putouts for Bourne so far today.
I talk about percentages, and Tehran throws his fastball 60% of the time and slider about 23% of the time. And as a hitter, when you walk up to the plate, you want a game plan and pretty much in your mind say it's either going to be fastball, slider, you eliminate the other 2 pitches, curveball, changeup, and if you see them, you just try to react.
Did he go? Yes, he did, said Estabrook. So Beltran down on strikes. And Tehran finally retires the Yankees in order as we go to the bottom of the 4th. 7-2 Bombers.
We're going to look at today's injury report, which is brought to you by Montefiore Medical Center, Inspired Medicine, and this is around the major leagues. Exciting young shortstop Carlos Correa, strained left hamstring day to day. The Yankees will get a look at the Boston Red Sox coming up the next 3 days. Hanley Ramirez, a little shoulder fatigue. He's also day to day.
Jace Peterson swings and misses as we start the bottom of the 4th. 7-2 Yankees lead on the Lincoln scoreboard. Oh, 2.
The Houston Astros leading their division. That won't be good news. Correa, the exciting young shortstop, day to day. It's a big part of what they do in the middle of their lineup. And Hanley Ramirez, Michael, I don't know if that's worked out quite the way the Red Sox had hoped it would.
Well, John, I believe that's why Ben Cherington's out of a job. The Ramirez signing was ill-advised, and you wonder about Sandoval, who has not had a great season, as Peterson swings and misses. And they assembled a staff of number 3s, and their pitching just couldn't get it done. So they're about to finish last for the 3rd year out of 4, but the 1 year they didn't finish last, they won the World Series. So Dave Dombrowski is taking over there and looking to hire a GM. Here's Andrelton Simmons. Of the players that have come from Curacao, a lot of them look up to Andrew Jones, kind of the patron saint, and really burst upon the scene here with the Braves. Remember in Game 1 of the '96 World Series, Andrew Jones with 2 home runs. I think he was 19 years old then. Sugar Ray Maramon. And the Giants hitting coach, Hensley Bam Bam Mullins from Curacao. He's become quite a hitting coach. Very well respected. And he has worked with D.D. Gregorius as well. The 2-1. 2-2.
Eovaldi looks a lot more aggressive here. Bottom of the 4th inning. I'm sure there was a conversation in that dugout on the bench from Larry Rothschild, the pitching coach. Let's go. You got a 5-run lead. Pound the strike zone. Force the action.
Simmons swings and misses. Put out is 2-3.
Well, you have to respect the velocity on the fastball. Simmons was late on the fastball to pitch before, and then a split. Swing right over the top of it. That great action down.
Detroit with 2 runs now, top of the 7th inning. Toronto leads the Tigers 6-2. Mets have retaken the lead over the Red Sox 4-2, top of the 7th inning at Citi Field. Minnesota 1-0 over Houston, bottom of the 2nd. Line drive right at Headley, and Bourne retired, and Eovaldi comes back with a 1-2-3, bottom of the 4th inning. We go to the 5th here in Atlanta. Yankees lead 7-2. Lead 7-2 on the Bigelow T scoreboard as we go to the top of the 5th inning. And Brian McCann will start it off against his former team. McCann is 0 for 2 today. Had a big night on Friday here, and then drove in the 3rd run of the 3-1 Yankee win yesterday with a double. So it's been a nice homecoming for Brian. And a strike. So one of the great things about being home is getting to sleep in your own bed. Chop to first, Freeman. One away. Hey, Thursday night, the passion and excitement of college football returns to Yes when Alcorn State takes on ACC powerhouse and 16th ranked Georgia Tech at Bobby Dodd Stadium right here in Atlanta. Catch all the action live Thursday night at 7:30 right here on Yes.
Yeah, I didn't realize Georgia Tech was pretty much near downtown. It's right there.
A couple of blocks from here.
Yeah.
And we said on Friday they're thinking about keeping this ballpark and turning it into a football stadium for Georgia State. The original thought was after the Braves moved they would tear down this ballpark, but now other plans. This used to be the Olympic Stadium, and it was all enclosed, and then they tore down the seats from left center field to right center field, made it into a baseball ballpark. Braves played the '96 series in Atlanta Fulton County Stadium, and then moved in here.
To believe this is going to be Tehran's last inning of work. The pitch count up there and his spot in the order leading off the bottom half of the inning.
Bird grounds one through for a base hit. So he's on base for the second time. Walked and scored in the third. Now a single here in the fifth after striking out in the first.
Well, he had that big game where he hit the 2 home runs. Kind of slowed down a little bit lately, but you're right. A walk. Now he just gets a base hit. Little sinker out over and just hooks it between the hole.
Headley hit one over the center field wall in the third inning, a 2-run home run. His 10th homer of the year. The bottom of the order guy has had a pretty solid season offensively. Struggled more in the field than anyone could have imagined, with a team leading 20 errors. Gregorius on deck.
Well, it's so surprising that Headley struggled a little bit defensively. He was so good last year. It looked like that was going to be a constant in his game.
And the thing is, Johnny, he has not struggled so much with the glove. He struggled with the arm.
I thought the home runs might be better this year than they have been in the short porch at Yankee Stadium.
Three and two. Chopped right side and through for a base hit. Bird will stop at second. Another hit for Headley. First and second, one man out for the Yanks.
Well, this is part of what you're going to get if you're Tehran and you have that moving fastball. You're going to get plenty of ground balls. Some of them are going to find holes. So look at the last pitch and some of the movement. It starts middle, in, runs back to middle, and he just rolls right over the top and hits it in a perfect spot.
Gregorius struck out and walked with a run scored. Swings and misses 0-1. Tehran supposed to lead off the bottom of the 5th. So they like to nurse him through this. Not have to double switch. Right now, 7-2. You're in a deep enough hole. 1-1. Fly ball, center field, coming on as Bourne, and it's going to dunk in. And just getting to second is Headley as the bases are loaded. Bird advances to third, a bloop single for Didi Gregorius.
Well, you'd have to categorize this as a gift hit for Gregorius. Take a look at the replay. Gets jammed, and Bourne just caught flat-footed. Gets a terrible read and then tries to make up the ground. Nobody's covering second base. As a gift base hit by Michael Bourne.
Well, Freddie Gonzalez can't wait any longer. He will call to his bullpen. Yankees have the bases loaded, 1 out. Stephen Drew coming up. And the Braves make the Verizon call to the bullpen here in the 5th, trying to keep it at 7-2 Yankees. Red Sox at Fenway. Coverage begins at 6 with Audi batting practice today and the Tri-State Ford pregame right here on Monday and Tuesday night games. Wednesday a special start, 4:05 in Boston, so make a note of that. Tehran's day is over. Speaking of the Red Sox, Mets 4, Red Sox 3, top of the 7th inning. And now the Red Sox have tied it. It's 4-4 in the top of the 7th inning at Citi Field. The Braves go to Sugar Ray Maramon, his 9th game. And he will try to deal with Stephen Drew, who's 2 for 2 today. Single, home run, 2-run score, 2 ribbies. Hitting 197, bases loaded, 1 out, top of the 5th. One and 0.
The Braves playing the infield back, trying to get that double play ground ball. Stephen Drew off to a good start, 2 for 2, a single, a 2-run home run. Opportunity right here for Drew. Situational hitting. Runner at third, less than 2. Whole approach is looking to get a ball up, out over the plate, get it in the air, keep it off the ground. 3 grand slams in his career. Stephen Drew, you got to cash in here, at least get one run home. You got a Baldy on deck. Obviously a pitcher who doesn't swing the bat well.
Three and one.
We saw this the first game of the series from the Atlanta Braves. The bullpen is not a strength of this club. They have blown a lot of saves. They also have some young kids who have trouble throwing the ball over the plate. Bases loaded, nowhere to put Stephen Drew.
And the 3-1. He walked him. That'll force in a run. Yankees lead 8-2. Third ribby of the day for Stephen Drew.
It drives managers crazy, pitching coaches crazy when you have relievers who can't throw the ball over the plate. Situation right there to Drew. Marimone couldn't force contact. Now you have Eovaldi up at the plate.
Eovaldi's 0 for 2. Now, Girardi the other night told Brian Mitchell, don't swing. And he took a called third strike. Not sure he said the same thing to Eovaldi. Yankees want to get out of Atlanta without any of their pitchers getting hurt while hitting. But a big hit here would further break open the game. 0-2.
You'd assume Eovaldi would be able to swing the bat with his National League past.
And the 0-2 pitch. He does swing. Caught by Freeman. Hit a line drive, but Freeman right there for the second out as the runners get back.
Oh, Eovaldi hits this ball hard. Right at Freeman. He's looking for the possibility of a double play, but all the base runners get back. 3 fastballs in a row. Eovaldi just stays inside and rockets it the other way. Remind you a little bit of Severino last night, who drove one deep to right field.
Here's Ellsbury with the bases loaded. Marimone deals outside. 1-0. Marimone's dad named him after the boxer Sugar Ray Leonard, so his given name is Sugar Ray Marimone, not a nickname. 1-0. 2-0. Line drive left field. Swisher comes on to make the play. So Marimone issues a bases loaded walk but gets the next 2 batters. Yankees get a run. We're halfway through. 8-2. Today, USAA honors all of our service members at home and abroad. And here is Maramone leading off the bottom of the fifth. And Eovaldi starts him with a fastball strike. Bigelow T, scoreboard 8-2 Yankees.
Freddie Gonzalez trying to get multiple innings from Maramone. Sends him up to the plate.
Strike three, Maramone down looking.
Well, National League style of play. If you're Eovaldi, you have to take advantage of that pitcher's spot. Gonzalez didn't double switch, didn't send up the pinch hitter. Take advantage of get a quick out here in the fifth.
Pitch to Markakis upstairs, 1-0. Two and one. Markakis is 0 for 1 with a walk and a run scored. Has a 10-game hitting streak going. Hitting .299. 2-2. Ground ball, base hit inside third for Markakis. Gardner over quickly gets the ball in, and Markakis extends his hitting streak to 11 straight.
Well, he extends the hitting streak, and over about his last 36 games, he's about a .330 hitter. So his first year in Atlanta has been productive as far as batting average is concerned. You'd expect the power to get better next year, coming off neck surgery this offseason.
Here's Nick Swisher. Nick's 0 for 1 with a walk and a run scored. He walked in the third inning. That's a breaking ball strike. 0-1. This is the Braves' 50th year in Atlanta. Before that, they were in Milwaukee. And before that, Boston. 1-2. They've certainly had different logos throughout the years. In Boston, they moved to Milwaukee for the 1953 season. They won the World Series in '57. then moved to Atlanta. From 66 to the present, they won the World Series in '95, 17 division titles. Yankees shift for Swisher with 3 infielders on the right side. The 1-2. Told you Eovaldi's 13-2, and his 2 losses to the teams in Florida, Tampa Bay and Miami. And that Miami game, kind of a jumping off point for Nathan Eovaldi. Couldn't get out of the first inning. Really was embarrassed in that game, and since then he's been a different pitcher.
He went 2/3 of an inning, gave up 8 earned runs. Changed his grip on a split a little bit, and the results have been much better.
2-2 on Swisher. So Nick really battling as he fouls one back.
Yeah, Swisher having a good at bat. He's fouled everything off. Fastball, little slider away, a split that was down.
Strike 3. Swisher down looking. 2 outs.
See Nick shaking his head. He agreed with the call. Looks like a split that's elevated and just locks up Nick Swisher, and he knows it right away.
Here's Freddie Freeman. He is 1 for 2, struck out looking. RBI single to left in the 3rd. Yankees lead 8-2. We're in the bottom of the 5th. 0-1.
Freddie Freeman has a look on his face like he can't believe he's not centering that split. He swung through it a couple of times. And an RBI single on a fastball that he was jammed, broke his bat, and fought it off the other way. But he's had some pitches to hit on the split, and he swings right through it.
There's a base hit to left field for Freeman. Moving Markakis to second.
And he finally got it. He's had about 4 of them that have been elevated in his 3 at bats, and he finally was able to put a good swing on one and just drive it the other way. Almost had a look of disgust when he swung through the last one.
Here's A.J. Przinsky. Grounded foul.
Przinsky with over 15 years of major league service time. 38 years old, still getting it done. The batting average over 290. You would think if he wants to continue next year, there'll be someplace that would love to have him. Veteran presence behind the plate, left-handed hitter.
He's always been thought of as the guy that you like having on your team, but if he plays against you, he gets under your skin. But he's got a lot of options. Like a lot of these catchers, he's going to decide whether he wants to catch again or become a broadcaster.
You know, the way he plays the game, though, it can irritate an opposing player or opposing team just by his body language, some of the things that he does. But you can't argue with the success that he has had during his career.
Now, John, Eovaldi's pitching himself into a 5-inning outing today.
And this would be disappointing just because we talked early on how you start to think of him now as a 6, 7, 8 inning guy. He's kind of taken a step backwards today as far as the pitch count being elevated.
2-2. And the pitch. Grounded softly to second. Charging is Drew, and he flips to second to get the force. And Eovaldi works out of trouble. No runs, 2 hits, and 2 men left. We go to the 6th inning. 8-2 Yanks. Get a strong fan photo of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photo to hashtag #YesDataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Full Yankee uniform, home white pinstripes, very, very sharp. NJ Eric M. 8-2 Yankees lead as we go to the 6th inning. Getting darker here in Atlanta. Lights have been on since first pitch. There's Brett Gardner. Brett, 3 fly balls to center field. John, last year, Brett Gardner had a great first half. Really, really bad second half. This year, made the All-Star team for the first time. And again, he's having a really bad second half. As he's about to go 0 for 4. And you just wonder, he plays the game so hard. Not a big guy. I wonder if his body just wears down. He's 32 years old now, too.
Well, he's 32 years old, and what you're starting to see and what you saw a little bit last year, the bat starts dragging a little bit, and he starts working underneath a lot of balls, and the 4 fly balls today, evidence of that. You know, you wonder if maybe Joe Girardi looks at him, and it's tough to do down the stretch, and, you know, maybe he needs a day here and there. Yankees have Thursday off. Maybe you give him Wednesday off so he gets multiple days of recharge a little bit.
Well, if you don't play the A-Rod at first base game against a left-hander, you can give him a rest by starting Chris Young in left field. One and one on Beltran. Ground ball up the middle and under the glove of Jace Peterson as Beltran reaches. That should be an E4. We'll see how they score it.
we've seen some things here in the 3 days in Atlanta. We'll show you why they are struggling lately. That's a ball that needs to be played right there. Backhand right underneath his glove.
Carlos Beltran has to have a smile on his face. He gets a hit.
Wow.
So Beltran with his second hit of the afternoon. Here's Brian McCann. One and 0.
We talked about the Braves. They don't do a great job scoring runs or hitting home runs. Their bullpen has issues. We've seen some defensive plays I feel like should have been made.
Chop to second. Peterson goes to second. One on to first. It's a double play. 4-6-3 double play to end the top of the sixth. We go to the bottom of the sixth. 8-2 Yanks. Pitchers brought to you by Verizon Fios, the fastest, most reliable internet. Ivan Nova will get the start for the Yankees, and he'll face the young left-hander Eduardo Rodriguez. 7-5, 4.39. Our coverage from Fenway begins at 6, right here on Yes. So Eovaldi does come out to pitch at the bottom of the sixth inning. And he will face Adonis Garcia with the Yankees up 8-2.
Well, a couple of starts ago, Eovaldi threw 120 pitches last time out, 109. You see, now this is going to be his 97th pitch for the afternoon. The Yankees do have an off day on Thursday. He will not work during that Fenway series.
Jake Brigham up for the Braves. There's a base hit up the middle for Garcia, his second hit of the afternoon.
Well, he's got 2 hits, and he hit a line drive right at Stephen Drew. Garcia, who was with the Yankees in spring training the last couple of years, getting an opportunity here in Atlanta.
Yankee bullpen is quiet.
Well, it makes it a whole lot easier if you're Joe Girardi and you have a 6-run lead. You can extend your starting pitcher a little bit, try to get him through the 6th inning.
Fly ball deep left center. Ellsbury back, still back, turning, looking. It's over his head and up against the wall. Garcia will go to third. Peterson picks up a double, and the Braves have runners on second and third and nobody out.
Peterson trying to salvage his afternoon. He struck out twice already against Eovaldi, and he doesn't wait around to get himself behind in the count. Split. Moves out over the plate, and Peterson just hammers it the other way. You wonder with those two swings at the bat if Joe Girardi's going to change his mind about that bullpen.
And Adam Warren is up. Here is Andrelton Simmons. Yankees play the infield back. They'll give up a run for the out. Still throwing hard. 1-0, 98 miles an hour.
Well, never really seems to be an issue with Eovaldi when the pitch count is elevated. He still has the velocity on his fastball. Yankees playing that infield back, trying to stay away from the big inning. Trading out for the run.
2-0. And the pitch. Late swing, fouled it off. 100 miles an hour. So, of his 102 pitches, 12 of them have been 100 miles per hour or more. And as high as 101, he's done that once. A base hit to center field. Garcia scores. Peterson rounds third. He'll score. It's a 2-run single for Simmons. And now the Yankee lead is 4 runs. It's 8-4.
Well, if you think back to this at bat from Simmons and really the whole afternoon, he's been late on the fastball from Eovaldi. Eovaldi goes with, I don't know if it was a split or a slider, whatever it was. It didn't do a whole lot. And it just speeds the at-bat up for Simmons. They're able to rocket it right back up the middle. Couple of runs on the board for the Braves.
Well, Joe Girardi takes the ball from Eovaldi. Certainly not his best start in the last 12. But he leaves with an 8-4 lead and turns it over to the bullpen. Those were the thrilling moments of the game, brought to you by Pepsi. 3 swings, 7 runs, a 3-run home run, a pair of 2-run shots. The Yankees lead 8-4. Braves batting in the bottom of the 6th. New Yankee pitcher is Adam Warren, replacing Nathan Eovaldi.
Well, Adam Warren has been well rested. He last worked on Wednesday, and you see the numbers are outstanding on the year. As a reliever, he has an ERA just over 2.
Here's Michael Bourne. Fly ball, center field. Ellsbury makes the catch. Tagging is Simmons, but he just draws the throw. And the throw gets away from Drew as Simmons will go to second. Not quite sure because he had me screen, John. Did that ball hit second base?
To tell you the truth, I was watching Michael Bourne, who didn't even run all the way down to first base. You'd assume that was just a routine play. And Ellsbury's going to catch it easily, obviously. Simmons goes back to tag. And we'll take a look at the throw. It does hit second base.
So they're going to score that at E4, which, I mean, how could you give an error to Stephen Drew? You have to give the error to Ellsbury. So here's Johnny Gomes, the pinch hit. In the number 9 slot. Gomes pitched on Friday. Now pinch hitting here on Sunday. Pitch is low. Well, the official score is going to have to change that. There's no way you could give Drew that error.
Wonder if he just didn't see the replay, you know, just assume that the ball ricocheted off of Drew, which it did not. Hit second base.
Fly ball, shallow right. It's going to dunk in for a base hit. Simmons scores, and Gomes picks up a pinch hit RBI single. And all of a sudden, it's a game. Yankees 8, Braves 5.
All of a sudden, that fly ball to center field, routine fly ball, looked innocent enough. The ball hits the bag. The runner goes into scoring position, and Johnny Gomes right off of the end of the bat. And it's able to stay fair. A bloop base hit, an RBI base hit. Things getting interesting here in Atlanta.
Here's Nick Markakis. Warren deals, and there's a strike. Yankees have 10 hits. The Braves have 9. Yankees have an 8-5 lead. Well, this is a complete line for Eovaldi. 5 runs, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts to 103 pitches. Now asking the bullpen to get 12 outs. 2-1. Well, it's over in Toronto. The Blue Jays have beaten the Tigers 9-2. Jason Shreve up for the Yanks. Three and one on Markakis.
Well, Adam Warren usually is money coming out of the bullpen, throwing strikes with all of his pitches. Missing a little bit here with his changeup and his slider.
Count 3-2.
Maybe gets a little bit of a break right here. We see from the side that pitch probably down. Ed Hickok's home plate umpire gives Warren the call. Adam Warren likes to go with that backdoor slider, sometimes on a 3-2 count. We'll see what he's thinking about here.
Served into left field. Coming on is Gardner. Can't make the play. As Gomes moves to second, and that'll bring the tying run to the plate in the bottom of the 6th.
Well, it's been an interesting 6th inning. Adam Warren went with that fastball away. He didn't go with the backdoor slider. Markakis stays on, and Brett Gardner, a great bid just off the heel of the glove. He was there in plenty of time. Sunglasses come off of his hat. Sliding play, just can't come up with it.
Well, the hits are even at 10 apiece. As Swisher comes to the plate as the tying run. Yankees led 7-0 after 2.5. 8-2 after 5.5. And now it's 8-5. Runners on first and second. 1 out.
The Braves are all set up. First and second, 1 out. And you have Swisher, Freeman. If you get to that point, A.J. Przinsky, middle of the lineup.
One and 0.
Ed Hickox not giving him the slider that was down. He called the fastball down last at bat. This is a slider from the side. It's borderline. I think Swisher gets the call.
Gomes at second. Markakis at first. The 1-0. Chop to Drew. Tough hop. He stays with it. Fires to second. They get the force. Nice play by Stephen Drew as Gomes moves to third and Swisher reaches on the fielder's choice.
Well, a nice play by Drew and a very aggressive play by Drew. As Swisher rolls over. It's very easy for Drew just to take that out at first. But the athletic play, the spin, and the accurate throw to Gregorius at second keeps Markakis out of scoring position.
Well, with Freeman due up, they take the ball from Warren, and Chasen Shreve will come on. First and third, 2 outs. Bottom of the 6th. Yankees up 8-5. MLB.TV Premium for live or on-demand games on over 400 devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking, and more. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. So it's 8-5. Yankees lead the Braves. Braves have runners on the corners with 2 outs. And Chasen Shreve comes on to deal with Freddie Freeman.
Well, you see the numbers for Shreve. His last appearance was on Wednesday against Houston. He's on at a big spot here with arguably the Braves' most dangerous hitter in Freddie Freeman, a good hitter. It's ball all over the place, and he does have some pop with his 15 home runs.
Freeman 2 for 3 so far this afternoon. Shreve came to the Yankees from Atlanta, along with Carpenter, who flamed out for Manny Benuelos. And Shreve has saved that deal. David Carpenter could not get it done in New York. Threw hard, but just couldn't get outs.
Yeah, Shreve has become a very reliable left-handed reliever. That good split changeup. I think more importantly, that demeanor when he comes into the game doesn't look like anything gives him any trouble.
Does that stay fair? No.
I said it, he's a good hitter and a dangerous hitter because of the little bit of power, 15 home runs. He's just a little bit too quick.
So 1-2 on Freeman. Bounced up there. Good block by McCann. Saves a run. Although there is not much foul territory behind the plate.
It's as good as it gets for Brian McCann. Right off the chest protector. Deadened the ball right on home plate. He could have got that glove down a little bit better, but perfectly executed.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 on. Yankees up by 3. Pitch. That one gets past McCann, but staying put is Gomes.
That's the one thing that would concern you from McCann. Sometimes that glove is elevated when he goes down to block. This one scoots just underneath it. He got a piece of it and deadened it a little bit so the runner can't advance.
Well, that releases Swisher at first. Bird backs up, guarding more of the line, and the pitch. And he walks Freeman to load the bases.
Well, Joe Girardi wanted it. Jason Shreve wanted it. The borderline pitch, and Ed Hickox didn't like it. We'll get another look at it. It's down and in, and Brian McCann tells you all you need to know. He tries to bring it back up to the strike zone.
And here is A.J. Pierzynski, who's 1 for 3 this afternoon. Bases loaded with Braves. The tying runs are on base. Yankees lead 8-5. Shreve, the tall, thin left-hander, sets and deals. Ground ball to first. Bird with a tough hop. He'll step on the bag, and that will do it. But the Braves score 3. They're back in this game. They also strand 3, leaving the bases loaded on this Pierzynski ground ball of Bird. We go to the 7th, 8-5 Yanks. presents the Joe Girardi Show as the skipper looks ahead to two big AL East series against the Red Sox and the Rays. Plus, get Joe's answers to your questions posted on Twitter and Facebook. It's all new today after the postgame, only on Yes. New pitcher for the Braves, left-hander Ross Detweiler. He pitched on Friday and really got roughed up.
Well, you can see the 30 walks and 55 2/3 innings tells the whole story. And when he came in against the Yankees, he walked 3 and 2 1/3.
And Greg Bird takes a strike. Yankees lead 8-5 here in the 7th. Looking for a sweep of the Braves.
I played on a lot of bad teams in my 5 years down in Tampa Bay with the then Devil Rays. When you're a good team, you go out and get off to a good lead, and then a bad team gets back in it. You got to send a little message here in the 7th.
Nice play by Detweiler. One away.
Now the Atlanta Braves feel like they have a chance to salvage this last game of the series with the 3 runs in the 6th. Detweiler throws the ball over the plate, a shot right back up the middle, and a nice defensive play.
Here's Chase Headley. He's 2 for 2 with a walk. 2-run home run to center in the 3rd. Single right in the 5th. He walked in the 2nd. Garcia very close to the line at 3rd. 3 infielders on the left side for Headley. 1-0. Pitch. Missed outside, 3-0. Do they green light him on 3-0? We'll never know. Ball 4, so he walks Headley on 4 pitches. And that's going to bring up Gregorius, who's 1 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. He singled to center in the 5th. Did that get him? He's saying it did.
It sure sounded like it.
And finally, Hickox agrees. So Gregorius hit by a pitch, 1st and 2nd, 1 man out. Got him on that guard on the elbow.
It's tough to tell right there in the replay. It's more the sound that I noticed. A little tick right there.
So that brings up Stephen Drew. Drew 2 for 2. Bases loaded walk. He has 3 ribbies. 38 on the season. 16 home runs, hitting 197. Strike. Headley at second, Gregorius at first. Line drive, a base hit to right field. Runners had a hold up, so they move up a base. And the Yankees have the bases loaded. Drew 3 for 3.
Well, Drew having a nice afternoon, 3 for 3, 3 RBIs. Detweiler will show you some good stuff from the left side, but very erratic with his location. Drew gets jammed and just fights it off into right field. Headley had to hold up at second base, make sure it was not caught.
And the Yankees are going to bring up Alex Rodriguez, the pinch hit. So Rodriguez will pinch hit for Shreve.
Alex Rodriguez looks like he's looking in the Brave dugout to see if they're going to make a move. Brzezinski's going to go out to the mound.
So although you have Ellsbury and Gardner coming up, Freddie Gonzalez comes out of the Yankee farm system where he caught. He'll go to the bullpen and he'll bring on a right-hander. Is loaded and hit his 23rd grand slam, tying him with Lou Gehrig for the most in Major League history. Since then he's hit 2 more and he has the most grannies in the major leagues, 25 all time. So that last home run here that tied Gehrig was June 12, 2012. So the Braves bring in Peter Moylan to pitch to A-Rod.
That'll be the 8th appearance for Moylan. 3 hits and 3 2/3, and you watch him warm up. He's got a low 3/4 arm angle. He gets a lot of movement on that fastball down and into Alex Rodriguez and the sweeping slider.
As a pinch hit single up the middle. That'll score 2. Moving to third is Drew. The throw comes into second. A-Rod with 2 ribbies, and the Yankees lead 10-5.
Well, a nice job by the Yankees coming back here in the top of the 7th after the Braves had scored 3 in the 6th. And a nice job by Alex Rodriguez. Pinch hitting, doesn't waste any time. watch the pitcher warm up. You see the arm angle. You notice the movement. And you look for that spot down and in. He gets it. Doesn't try to pull it. Just hammers it right back up the middle. Base hit. Couple RBIs. Nice job by the Yankees answering back.
So Freddie Gonzalez wanted Moylan for one batter, and Moylan couldn't get it done. So A-Rod breaks an 0 for 11 with that pinch hit 2-run single. New York Yankees, it may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the aforementioned New York Yankees. So A-Rod was hitless in his last 11 at-bats, one hit in his last 15. His slump has gone on for a while, but essentially he's had 4 days off. And maybe that's rejuvenated him as they now bring in Jake Brigham.
Brigham was just recalled yesterday by the Braves. An interesting move by Freddie Gonzalez. You don't bring in a left-handed pitcher to face Ellsbury and Gardner. You bring in another righty. Brigham, one of those feel-good stories, spent 9 years in the minor leagues. Finally getting his opportunity.
Strike 2 to Ellsbury. Well, that's what's left in the Braves bullpen. Still plenty of firepower up there. And Brigham gets Ellsbury swinging. 2 away.
Nice slider that goes straight down. Ellsbury swings right over the top. Well, looking at Moylan's numbers, left-handers hitting .500 against him as opposed to .167. So maybe the reason that Brigham is in this game, Freddie Gonzalez not trusting Moylan against the lefties.
One and one. Ground ball, base hit. Gardner, his first base hit of the afternoon. That scores Drew, and the Yankees lead 11-5.
Yeah, Brett Gardner needed that base hit. He's been working underneath some fastballs, a lot of fly balls, can finally take a deep breath as he gets a sinker out over the plate and just drives it the other way. I think he's a really nice job at 2-out hitting this afternoon.
Ed Hickok standing, writing something on his card and looking into the Yankee dugout. I think they're trying to get a pinch runner for A-Rod. You would think.
Chris Young.
So with A-Rod moving to second, they go to Young. A lot of reaction for Alex as he leaves the field. And Beltran takes a strike. The 0-1. Chop foul. John, the Braves have not been that impressive. Everybody they bring in from the bullpen doesn't seem to really do much. They just pour more fire or oil onto the fire.
Yeah, the numbers for the bullpen have not been good. They've blown a bunch of saves, obviously, early on for the Braves. And a lot of youngsters out there trying to get some opportunities, but not throwing the ball over the plate. They don't impress you with their stuff, and the Yankees taking advantage of it here in the 7th.
Nub, third base side. Brigham Fields fires to first. Infield single for Carlos Beltran, his third hit of the afternoon. And again, the Yankees have the bases loaded, this time with McCann coming up.
Well, the hits just keep on coming for Carlos Beltran. If he hits it hard, it's a base hit. If he hits it off the end of the bat, it's going to be a swinging bunt. Brigham actually gets to this ball in pretty good shape. And another look on Yesmo. Gets a good grip, but did not have a lot on the throw. Just another infield base hit for Carlos Beltran.
McCann, the Yankees' ninth batter to come to the plate. Bases loaded. Yankees up by 6. 11-5. McCann's 0 for 4 today. That pitch way outside. Two and 0.
$11 grand slams for Brian McCann. 23 home runs on the year, 80 RBIs, and he's in the driver's seat here.
Base hit for McCann. 1-run scores. Here comes Gardner. He'll score. It's a 2-run single for McCann. And the Yankees are pouring it on. They lead 13-5.
Well, with the bases loaded, Brian McCann ahead in the count 2-0. You're thinking big thoughts about maybe another grand slam. He just does exactly what you're supposed to do. A sinking fastball, just stay on it and drive it the other way. Braves playing him to pull. He beats the shift. 5 runs in here already in the top of the 7th for the Yankees.
Yankees 7 for 13 with runners in scoring position. Here's Greg Bird. He started the inning, grounding back to the mound. And the count 1-0.
Well, the Braves scoring 3 runs in the bottom of the 6th felt like they were right back in this game. And the Yankees send a little statement here with 5 runs of their own in the 7th.
That one is laced into left center field. It's a base hit for Bird. 1 run scores. McCann is at third. They're going to stop him right there. It's an RBI double for Greg Bird, and it's 14-5 Yankees.
The Yankees just pouring it on here in the 7th. Greg Bird joins the party again. It's another sinker out over the plate. And the perfect approach, just hammering it to left center field. Just as the Braves thought they were right back in this, the Yankees send a little message here in the 7th.
Now here's Chase Headley. He started this with a walk with 1 out. Now the pitch is high from Brigham. Second and third, 2 outs. The 1-0. 1-1. That one's driven to right field. Markakis going back. He's not going to get there. It gets past him and to the wall. 2 more runs scored. It's a 2-run double for Headley. And the Yankees lead 16-5.
Well, you remember when the Yankees left New York and they were struggling to score runs? Well, those days are over. 15 runs in the first game of this series, now 16 on the final game. We got some baseball still to play.
Roger McDowell, the pitching coach, all about getting laughs with the Mets as well as being a very good pitcher, but nothing to smile about here. His pitching staff has just been tortured against the Yankees over these 3 games, especially Friday and today. Now here's Gregorius, who was hit by a pitch earlier this inning. Nice day for Headley. Single, double, home run. 4 runs scored. Check that, 4 RBIs, 2 runs scored. Also walked twice. 2-0 from Brigham. Strike. 2-1. Three and one to DD. Yankees have 17 hits. The most they've had in a game this year is 19. That was on July 28th at Texas. Didi was tossing the bat away, thought it was ball 4, instead 3-2. And they walk Gregorius. And that's going to bring up Stephen Drew. Drew today is 3 for 3, 3 runs scored, 3 ribbies, and he's at 199, so he could finally get over 200 with a hit here. And he's over 200 with a base hit to right field. Headley will score. Stopping at second is Gregorius. It's an RBI single for Stephen Drew. And the Yankees lead 17-5.
Oh, major league hitters get greedy when you have innings like this. Brigham obviously taking it on the chin here in the 7th. Freddie Gonzalez just has to watch. The Yankees are pouring it on.
Well, you don't get this very often. Brigham versus Young with 2 outs and 2 on. Young pinch ran for A-Rod. Now he gets the bat, and there's a strike. Popped up, left side. A 9-run 7th inning for the Yankees. Still batting, 1st and 2nd, 2 outs. Foul back. And Young down on strikes. But the Yankees own this inning as they score 9 runs. They leave 2. They have 18 hits on the game. They lead 17-5 here in Atlanta. And at the end of 6.5, it's time for the 7th inning stretch. But we'll stay right here at Turner Field and listen to Timothy Miller of the Atlanta Opera sing God Bless America.
Storm clouds gather from far across the sea. Let us swear allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair.
As we raise our voices in a solemn prayer.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans, white with foam, God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless
17 runs, 18 hits, and 1 error for the Yanks. 5-10-0 for the Atlanta Braves. Ellsbury, a 3-run home run. Headley and Drew, 2-run home runs each. Yankees 10 for 17 with runners in scoring position. Now let's take a look at the 7th inning, how that broke down. 9 runs, 8 hits, 42 pitches, 14 batters came to the plate, and the top of the 7th lasted 27 minutes and 30 seconds. So Pinder takes over on the mound and deals a strike to Garcia. Those are the numbers on Pinder. Brendan Ryan comes in and plays third for Headley. Chris Young is in right field for Beltran. Every spot in the Yankee lineup has a hit and a run, at least a hit and a run. The only spot that doesn't have an RBI is the 3rd spot in the order. As we said earlier, the 18 hits for the Yankees, 1 short of their high for the season. That one is wrapped to left field, and that ball is a home run. Third base umpire Mike Estabrook says it's a home run, and that makes it 17-6 as Garcia hits his 7th.
Well, I mentioned Garcia was a member of the Yankee organization, was released in April of this year, and he's found a home here in Atlanta, having a big afternoon. 3 hits, now a home run. The one at bat that he was retired, he hit a line drive right at Drew. Let's see, it finds the first row.
Chase Peterson takes outside. So we're in the bottom of the 7th, 17-6 Yankees. We mentioned the 18 hits, 1 short of their season high on July 28th at Texas. That was also their run scoring high, 21. So they're 4 away from that. 1-2.
Well, we came into this game detailing both of the starting pitchers have been throwing the ball great lately. Didn't think it was going to end up being a slugfest, but it is 17-6 at this point.
And the 2-2. Swing and a miss. Peterson down on strikes. We have an update. So let's go to Bob Lorenz back in the studio. Amazing collapse by the Orioles. Just amazing. Here's Simmons against Pinder. Popped up. McCann runs out of room. Well, this is going to help the runs per game for Nathan Eovaldi, as he will likely pick up his 14th win, going 14-2, although he didn't pitch that great today. Went into the 6th inning, didn't get out in the 6th. Was not as sharp as he has been. Driven into left center field. That's going to be a base hit. Cutting it off in the gap is Ellsbury, and Simmons turns it into a double.
Well, you always hear big league managers talking about you can really pay attention about a club more when you're losing than when you're winning. Freddie Gonzalez paying attention. His starting shortstop still swinging the bat. Garcia is starting third baseman, trying to make an impression. Might not end up winning this game. Might end up getting swept by the Yankees. Coaching staff always pays attention to how you finish up.
Here's Michael Bourne against Pinder. Runner at second, one out. One and oh. Two and oh. And a strike. Two and two. Now the count goes 3-2.
Watching Brian McCann behind the plate, still working, still blocking that slider in the dirt. Not a surprise he's still in this ball game. Joe Girardi going to his bench, giving a couple of guys some innings off. I thought Brian McCann would be one of those players.
Simmons leads off second. And the 3-2. He walked him. So runners on first and second with one out. And that will bring up Jake Brigham. Brigham was called up before last night's game, as they sent down Williams Perez, who was ineffective in Friday night's start. Brigham up there to bunt, takes inside, 1-0.
Well, the Yankees like Brandon Pinder. They like his arm, a hard thrower with a good slider. He's got to get it figured out here in the 7th inning. A little bit erratic. Balls have been hit hard. You have a pitcher up there who's trying to give you a sacrifice bunt.
Two and oh.
Here comes Larry Rothschild, the pitching coach. Try to get Pinder straightened out. There could be a stern message in this one too. As you're up 17-6, pound the strike zone, take your chances.
How about the performance by Timothy Miller of God Bless America? What a voice. Glad we stayed for that. Timothy Miller performs with the Atlanta Opera. So kudos to him as Larry Rothschild gets his message across to Pinder. (17-6) Yankees lead. Now they turn loose Brigham, and he fouls the ball off, and it got Ed Hickox. And he's probably elated.
Well, it's been a long afternoon already with all the runs that have been scored. Actually, it gets Brian McCann in the mask and then gets Hickox either in the hand or the wrist or the arm. McCann does the right thing and goes out to talk to Pinder and gives Ed Hickox a little time to regroup. Right off of McCann's mask. It's a piece of the umpire.
Now, if you didn't like an umpire, he wasn't having a good day, John, would you give him the time to recover?
Yes, you would. It's the right thing to do. The big league thing to do.
The 2-1. 2-2.
Well, whatever Larry Rothschild said when he went out to the mound obviously has worked. 2 fastballs right down the middle.
Three and 2. And the payoff. Swing and a miss. Brigham down on strikes. 2 outs.
Sometimes it is a whole lot easier to say than it actually is to do, to go out there and throw the ball over the plate. You got a pitcher up there. Pinder does a nice job coming back, regrouping, picking up the strikeout.
And here is Nick Markakis. 2 for 3 with a walk and a run scored. First and second, 2 outs. 17-6 Yankees. 1-0. Markakis single in the 5th inning, extended his hitting streak to 11 straight. He's hitting .301. First year of a 4-year deal he signed with the Braves. Double the length of the contract offered by the Orioles. The 1-1. Serve to left field. Gardner is there. And that'll do it. 1 run, 2 hits, 2 left through 7. The Yankees have held the Falcons to 2 field goals.
They have young players that are continuing to try to make a mark for themselves, and it's important for them. You think about the young players in their lineup. We're going to see 2 young starters that are trying to establish themselves. So those games still have a ton of meaning.
And that's Joe talking about the Red Sox. Yankees start that series tomorrow night at Fenway. Our coverage on Yes starts at 6. Game time right around 7. Monday and Tuesday night, and then Wednesday, a different start time of 4:05. Those are the probable starters for the matchup. And the two young starters he's talking about, tomorrow starter Eduardo Rodriguez and Henry Owens on Wednesday. Rick Porcello's had an awful year. He'll start on Tuesday. And for the Yankees, it'll be Nova, Pineda, and Tanaka against the Sox, who just took 2 out of 3 from the Mets. But the Mets did win today's game 5-4 over Boston. So Brigham's still in there, and he will face the top of the order. Jacoby Ellsbury takes outside. Pedro Siriaco takes over in left. Nick Swisher is in right. Hyundai scoreboard 17-6 Yankees. 2-0. And the count 3-0. And a strike. Now 3-2. Foul that went off his foot.
Jacoby, who's been battling a little bit of a sore hip and some inflammation, is the last thing you need. Your Ellsbury right off of that right foot.
Brigham made his major league debut this year on June 30th against the Nationals. He spent 9 seasons in the minor leagues. This year he spent time at 2 minor league levels, AA and AAA, combining to go 9-3, 3.28, 16 appearances, 12 starts. And he walks Jacoby Ellsbury to start the 8th. Well, after the last out, stay right here for the WB Mason postgame. Our studio team recaps today's finale and gives you highlights from around the league. Plus, hear the clubhouse reaction and Joe Girardi's manager's report. It's all coming up on the WB Mason Yankees postgame. It's only on Yes. This is Brigham's 3rd appearance on the Braves roster this year. And another base hit for Brett Gardner. So he started off the day 0 for 4, now 2 for his last 2. As the Yankees threatening again here in the 8th.
Yeah, Brett trying to salvage his afternoon, 2 for his last 2, and you get on the plane, fly to Boston, feeling a whole lot better about yourself. Look forward to going up there and having a nice series.
Well, here's Brendan Ryan as they took Beltran out after the 7th. And Ryan likes hitting here at Turner Field. 18 for 48. 362, 10 hits in his last 20 at bats here, including a pinch hit double last night. And there's a strike. Oh, and 2. So the hit by Gardner has tied the Yankees season high with 19 hits. And Ryan swings and tips the ball into the glove of Przinsky. 1 away.
Well, those at bats always so tough for a bench player. You know you're going to come in the last couple of innings to give a regular some time off, then you get in at bat and you're just trying to do something productive. Swings right through the fastball.
2-0 to McCann. 2-run single in the Yankees' 9-run seventh. McCann with 82 ribbies on the year. This could be his last at bat at Turner Field. Three and 0. But the way this game has gone, you just don't know if he comes up again this inning or in the ninth. And they walk McCann on 3 pitches. That loads the bases.
Boy, that has to be hard for that man, Freddie Gonzalez, to watch. And we've been talking about it the whole weekend. The bullpen not throwing strikes. You're just not giving yourself a chance.
Greg Bird with an RBI double in the 7th inning. He was 1 for 2 that inning. He has 2 hits on the day. And he has the bases loaded here with 1 out against Brigham. Fly ball left field. Siriaco makes the catch. Tagging is Ellsbury. He'll score. And the Yankees lead 18-6. Sac fly for Bird. And here is Brandon Pinder. And he wraps a single, maybe more, to left center field. It's going to split the outfielders. Gardner scores. McCann is going to third. It's an RBI double for Pinder. And the Yankees lead 19-6. Everybody hits.
Well, Pinder comes up to the plate, and I'm just thinking, don't get hurt. Obviously, he had something different on his mind. First pitch swinging. It's a rocket to left center field. A good swing right there. Comes out of the box like he knew what he was doing.
That's the Yankees' first hit by a pitcher since Chase Whitley, May 15th of 2014 against Jacob deGrom and the Mets. They had not had a hit all interleague play. So the Yankees lead 19-6. Runners on second and third. 2 outs, and Gregorius takes a strike. So a new season high in hits for the Yankees with 20. And they have 19 runs. The 1-2 to Gregorius. There's a base hit to left field. McCann scores. Pinder goes to third. It's an RBI single for Gregorius, and the Yankees lead 20-6. Now, by the way, the last time a Yankee pitcher got a double, Andy Pettitte, June 19, 2009, at the Marlins. So Pinder in his first big league at bat picks up a double and an RBI. So Stephen Drew comes up and sees his average at 201. First time over 200 since the beginning of the year. Three and 0.
You can see A.J. Przinsky behind the plate. Frustration starting to settle in.
And ball 4 to Stephen Drew as the Yankees reload the bases. And once again, we have Brigham against Young.
Well, it's tough to watch. I'm sure Freddie Gonzalez sitting in that dugout thinking, you know what, I got to get this kid out of the game. As McDowell's going to go to the bullpen phone. To be honest, Brigham, your job is to eat up some innings here at the end of the game. Not getting it done.
Young with the bases loaded. Foul back here. Just over our booth. One. Popped up shallow center. And the catch is made by Peterson to end the inning. But the Yankees get 3 more runs. And they leave the bases loaded. We go to the bottom of the 8th. It's 26 Yanks. Cadillac dealers for exceptional summer offers. Visit CadillacTristate.com. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by your Tri-Honda dealers. Hurry to your local Tri-Honda dealer for great deals on the 2015 models. Go to the bottom of the 8th inning here at Turner Field. It's all Yankees. 20-6. As McCann moves from behind the plate to first base. John Ryan Murphy takes over behind the plate. Pinder still on the mound. Hyundai scoreboard, Yankees with 21 hits, the Braves with 12. Now, the Yankees had a game in Texas where they scored 21 at the end of July. Friday, they scored 15. They have 20 today. The last time the Yankees had 3 road games where they scored 15 or more runs in a season, you have to go back to 1953. There's also the 6th game this year the Yankees have scored 14 or more runs. And the last time they had that many was back in 2006 when they had 9 such games. So the offense went south at the end of the homestand, and now you have to sit in judgment, John. Were the Braves and their shaky pitching staff the perfect tonic, or did the Yankee bats finally come alive?
Well, at this point, it doesn't matter because, you know, the Yankees are going to leave Atlanta feeling great about themselves, obviously looking for the sweep. And then you put on top of it 20 runs, 21 hits already. You broke out Friday night with 15. So to answer your question, it doesn't really matter. You get on that bus and you look forward to going up to Boston feeling pretty good about your lineup.
Missed. And the 3-2 to Nick Swisher. And he walks. Now Pinder's job here at 20-6. I don't mean the time of the day, just 20 runs to 6 runs. Throw strikes. I mean, if they hit home run after home run, you've got a 14-run lead in the 8th inning. There's no excuse for walking the leadoff batter.
Yeah, and Pinder knows that better than anybody. I mean, that's his job right now. And you could tell coming out of the bullpen, he's not looked 100% comfortable with his command and the strike zone. And that makes it even tougher when you're in a game like this, and all you have to do is throw the ball over the plate.
Pitch up and away to Freddie Freeman. Crowd of 33,093 here at Turner Field.
So every Yankee player that is standing out in that field, whether you're an infielder or an outfielder, you're thinking the same thing. Just throw the ball over the plate. We'll take our chances. Girardi getting frustrated. And you hate to have to do this, go down to the bullpen and get another arm going.
Three and 0 on Freeman. 3-0 with a 20-6 lead. That will put your hands on your hips. The pitch. He walked him. Wasn't even close. 2 walks to open up the 8th inning by Pinder. Ryan Lavarnway will pinch hit for Przinsky as Brian Mitchell gets up. Braves carrying 3 catchers as they use Lavarnway off the bench. First and second. Swing and a miss.
Good call right there from John Ryan Murphy. Went with the slider. Sometimes you have a pitcher who's scattering the fastball all over the place. You change it up, go off speed. It'll slow him down mechanically a little bit, try to get him back on track.
One. 2-1. 2-2. Pinder came on to start the 7th, gave up a home run to Garcia, a double of Bourne. Check that, a double of Simmons, a walk to Bourne, but got out of it without further trouble. Swing and a miss. LaVarnway down on strikes. And now Garcia. Strike.
Garcia having a very solid afternoon, 3 for 4. Showing a little bit of pop too, 7 home runs already for him.
Fly ball deep center, going back Ellsbury, still back, and he'll make the play on the track for the second out as Swisher tags and moves to third. Peterson with a fly ball to deep right. Going back Young. He's got room. And he'll put it away for the final out. So the 2 walks do not haunt Pinder as the Braves strand 2 and we go to the 9th. I go to the 9th inning. Yankees look like they're headed for their 3rd straight win against the Braves, which would keep them a game back in the loss column. This is up to the moment with the Blue Jays winning again, sweeping the Blue Jays. Yankees will be a game and a half out after this one. Rays 10 back, Orioles 10 and a half back, and the Red Sox, who lost to the Mets today, 14 back of red-hot Toronto. All right, so a new pitcher, the 6th pitcher for the Atlanta Braves is Edwin Jackson. And he's going to bat in the number 3 hole for the Braves. Replacing Freeman. Replacing Freeman at first is going to be Ryan LaVarnway. He pinch hit in the 8th And taking over behind the plate for A.J. Przinsky is Christian Bethancourt. Now the Yankees have 20 runs, the most runs allowed in a game by the Braves in their history in Atlanta was 23. Cincinnati did it on April 25th, 1977. San Francisco did it on June 8th, 1990. (20-21-1), leading 6-12-0. Jacoby Ellsbury leads off. His 7th time coming to the plate. And that's in 9 innings. And his 5th time leading off. Fly ball center field. Bourne makes the play. 1 out.
You have a game like this. If you're not swinging the bat well, you can be exposed in that Yankee lineup. 7 at bats. Ellsbury got the Yankees going with that 3-run bomb in the 2nd. Feels like that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yesterday?
Seems like it.
Well, Brett Gardner looked like he was going to be one of those Yankee hitters who kind of started off slow. A couple of easy fly balls. He's 0 for 4 and now salvaging his afternoon. Back-to-back base hits.
Chop to second. Peterson to Lavarnway. 2 outs here in the 9th. There's Brendan Ryan. Pinch hit in the 8th inning and struck out. The 3 spot in the Yankee order is the only spot in the order without at least 2 runs scored. 1 run scored in the 7th inning from this spot in the lineup. Yankees have 21 hits and 20 runs. Chop foul. Chop toward third. Garcia across the diamond. And Jackson retires the Yankees in order. 1, 2, 3. And we go to the bottom of the 9th. 26 Yanks.
recaps today's finale and gives you highlights from around the league. Plus, hear the clubhouse reaction and Joe Girardi's manager's report. It's all coming up on the W.B. Mason Yankees postgame, only on Yes.
And today, after the postgame on Yes, catch a new W.B. Mason Presents the Joe Girardi Show as the skipper looks ahead to two big AL East series against the Red Sox and the Tampa Bay Rays. Plus, get Joe's answers to your questions posted on Twitter and Facebook. It's all new today after the postgame, only on Yes. Brian Mitchell will try to get the final 3 outs of this game. Nathan Eovaldi will pick up the win. He'll go to 14-2, giving him the best winning percentage for a starter in the American League. Yankees have scored 20 runs, and according to ESPN, the Yankees are the third team to score 20 runs in 2 different games in the same season since 2000. The others are the 2000 A's and the 2008 Phillies.
You see Brian Mitchell done with his warm-up tosses, and good to see him back out there Friday night. The first game of this series now comes back trying to finish it up.
And a strike to Simmons. One and one. Two and one. Now, we talked about how hot the Toronto Blue Jays are. Right back to Mitchell, who's already been hit with a comebacker this year. That one he defended nicely to get the out. And his heart has to be beaten pretty fast.
We mentioned it. It was nice to see him back out on the mound Friday night. Didn't look like he was having any difficulties. But here, the first ball hit right back at him. Wonder if he has some flashbacks of that Eduardo Nunez line drive. All in all, a nice little play.
That'll bring up Michael Bourne. Now, the Yankees beat the Blue Jays on August 15th in the second game of that 3-game set at Rogers Center. But since then, there's only been one day in which the Yankees won and the Blue Jays lost, and that was August 19th. The Yankees beat Minnesota, Toronto lost at Philly. Gregorius will make the play on Bourne, and the Braves are down to their final out. And John, you'd have to think that no graph of any sort in the history of the world has ever gone straight up. That the Blue Jays have to cool down just a bit.
No, they have to come back to reality at some point, and the Yankees will have 7 games against the Blue Jays. You hope you're playing good baseball when you face them. They are obviously feeling it up there. The pitching has gotten better, and their lineup is stacked.
Well, here's Christian Bethancourt. Pitch outside, 1-0.
This was a big series for the New York Yankees, though, coming to Atlanta, picking up the sweep, regrouping a little bit.
One and one. Mitchell deals. Grounded to third. Ryan across the diamond, and the Yankees sweep the Braves. They win today by a score of 20-6. Well, the Braves and their pitching staff, John, that was the perfect tonic for a slumping Yankees team, and they certainly came out of it. 15 runs on Friday, 3 yesterday, and 20 today. That's a good weekend in Atlanta.
Yeah, and it's got to be a good feeling for Joe Girardi as he takes his club up to Boston.